If I come in, I might shock some people. So I need from you a piece of paper saying I have the carte blanche. It's not about money, it's about how I want to do it. 2 goalkeepers had field player jerseys made because we had no field players anymore.
It gets worse, you beat us with half a squad.
Half a squad.
Jürgen, you were supposed to come on the show 4 or 5 weeks ago, and then obviously we got the call that you weren't coming on the show. Can you just explain, obviously the last 4 or 5 weeks, your son got a really bad injury playing for Cesena?
Yeah, my son is a goalkeeper, and he grew up obviously in America, in California, but then he came over to Europe, played at Hertha Berlin for 2 years, then he in Switzerland, went back to the Los Angeles Galaxy, played MLS for 3 years, and then was taken by Cesena, a team that kind of was bankrupt 6-7 years ago and was taken over by American investors, and they come from California, and they came up and said we would love to have him in Italy. So he became the goalkeeper 2 years ago, and then last season was voted best goalkeeper in Serie B, so like the championship, and was doing extremely well. Was called in then by Mauricio Pochettino for 2 camps. And Mauricio looked at him and was very impressed and had a good chance to go to this summer's World Cup. But it didn't happen for pretty much 4 weeks ago that in a game in Palermo, which is owned by Man City now, a midfielder from Palermo crashed into him when he was on the ground. He caught a ball and he lost his balance, that midfielder, and he smashed with his knee into the back of his head, and he broke his neck. And it was a highly complicated situation where then they in Palermo, the hospital said, it's too complicated for us, we cannot help, it's crazy. So we had to organize a medical chat, getting him up to Germany. He was then, he underwent surgery 4 days later in the university clinic in Heidelberg. It's a town close to Frankfurt, but very well known for medical kind of difficult situations. They saved him, and
was it that close, Jürgen?
It was in danger from the moment basically it happened until the moment they could now do surgery, and it all went fantastically well. They put 4 screws into his neck, in the upper spine. Basically, they connected to the C1 and C2. They call it the vertebrae there. And they will come out in 6 months, and he will be like before.
Wow!
It's fantastic. We are so thankful to the people there. We're thanking God every second.
Wow!
But I have to be honest. It completely took me off balance for several weeks. I flew over right away. My wife came as well, and it was like walking in fog. Because I'm not a medical person, and I don't know the severity of certain things, and just not knowing what will be for quite some time. It took me a while. So yesterday when I came up to Manchester, I felt like, you know what, I can see clearly again. I think now I know next steps will be this. It will be a long road of recovery, but he will recover 100%. And he will set his new goals then. Obviously, he wants to play a World Cup.
Yeah. Wow.
He's 29 years old, and he had a chance now with Mauricio, but it didn't happen. But I told him, listen, you heal 100%. The screws will come out after 6 to 9 months, and it will heal. And then it's more psychological, obviously, but he's a strong boy. He says, I'm going to do that, I will come back.
The fact he's thinking of that, isn't it? It's like mad, but the fact that he's okay.
That's the main thing.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah,
it is. It kind of reminds a lot of people a bit of Bert Trautmann, the story that he had in the
broken neck,
with the broken neck. But the most important part was game over. Lay him down on the ground and then get him straight to the hospital. Then they did x-rays and MRTs and all these things that they do nowadays. And then with every half an hour, the messages got worse and worse. And I knew I got to get on the next flight to Europe, which I did. And then the moment we got him then into that special clinic in Heidelberg in Germany, that's when you kind of relaxed a little bit and said, you know what, they know what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They get the motorcyclists, they get the e-bike children that did horrible accidents nowadays, and they are specialized in neck situation and neck surgeries and spine issues and. Good. It will be.
Well, it was good to hear.
Thank you.
Good that you saw.
But I admire you from afar. I live in Los Angeles now almost 28 years. Even if I did adventures back and forth in Europe with teams in Germany or Bayern Munich and others, but I really like your show.
Oh, thanks.
But to get it off the table.
So talk us about Los Angeles. What's it like living over there?
My wife, she's Californian. I bumped into her when I actually left Monaco in that time period for Spurs in 1994. We met and then in 97, Jonathan, who's the goalkeeper now, he was born in Munich when I played for Bayern Munich, and in 98 I finished my career after the World Cup in France. And there we had the decision to make, where should the boy grow up, California, where her family is, or Stuttgart, where my family is, and with all due respect to Stuttgart and my family, after living in Milano, London, Monte Carlo with Arsene Wenger 2 years, and then Monaco,
Wow.
it's going to be a bit difficult to go back to Stuttgart for me. And it was clear that we're going to go to Southern California, and we live about 45 minutes south of Los Angeles, in an area called Orange County, Newport Beach, and it was probably one of the best decisions we ever made.
Wow.
Yeah. And so do you get more nervous watching or thinking about your son playing now than you did when you played yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because you just wish of your own kids, you wish just the best for them, and you want them to do well, and you want them to reach the 100% of their potential, and hopefully they get to the right people at the right time. And in his case, he never really had the right people at the right time. He bumped into people and it didn't match, and he, unfortunately, and he's now 29, and he started, so he did 2 years university first, and then he was playing the under 20 World Cup 2017 in South Korea when England had that fantastic run with the under 20s, and he was one of the top 3 goalkeepers in that tournament, and that's when 2 Bundesliga teams wanted him, and he went then to Berlin. But he never really got a fair chance because of his last name. So there was always kind of a jealousy behind it, and he had to suffer that for many, many years. And when he now exploded then so late in Italy, becoming goalkeeper of the year in Italy in the Serie B, the championship basically, he kind of woke up a lot of people and said, you know what, this kid is really good. So you kind of, you are a bit anxious, you're nervous when you watch it far more than you were about your own career,
So you see, when you're watching him, when he chose to be a goalkeeper, did you see the signs that he's a pretty good goalkeeper? Did you see that early?
Did you keep taking shots?
So he first was a midfielder. He played outside and he loved it, until the age of 11, 12. When I coached in Bayern Munich in, when was that, 2008, 2009. So we as a family obviously moved to Munich for the time being. Yeah. And he, at the same time he played football, he played also basketball, because the American system in the school, they always change the sports. And he was really good in basketball. And so he loved that, and at Bayern then, he played in Bayern Munich's basketball team, under 14, he was 11 years old, and he was the best player there. But at the same time, he kind of tried out with the youth team as a midfielder, and there he realized, whoa, are these kids good? Because at that time, Bayern Munich, they kind of recruited the best kids in the state of Bavaria. It's like, the whole Merseyside is only recruited by one top, if it's Man United or Liverpool. And I said, that's going to be difficult to break into that group. And I said, but I really love to catch the ball. He said, you do whatever you want. And I said, I want to be goalkeeper. And that's when he started at the age of 11 to be a goalkeeper. And then he did all the youth national teams for the United States, also the Olympic team. And he was in the mirror of the senior national team, but then they bounced back and forth with different coaches until Mauricio Pochettino then came and now guides them to the World Cup. And but now he has to be patient.
Yeah.
Stick to Football is brought to you by Arm Clothing. This episode is sponsored by Huel.
Gary, it's my favourite time of the year. It's the World Cup.
Yeah. I can't wait for it, to be fair.
What was it like actually playing in a World Cup? Because that's obviously everyone's dream.
Do you know something? It was a massive build-up.
Oh, talking of everyone's dream, strawberry and watermelon.
I love the blue raspberry one of these, but do you know something? The World Cup, it's probably, other than the fact my debut's for United and sort of playing in the first big FA Cup game or things like that, I remember my first World Cup match was against Romania in France '98, and I reckon it's the most nervous I've been as a senior football player. A World Cup is like, a World Cup, 82, Spain, 90, Maradona 86, 90 obviously Gaza, and just, that's your childhood, that's your growing up, that's, 7 years of age through to sort of what would be 15, 16 years of age. I always remember Socrates, 1982 World Cup, Junior, Zico. They're names that are like magical. They're things that just like sit up in heaven from a point of view of like me growing up. And my hero was Brian Robson, Norman Whiteside, Mark Hughes, but these players were something that you just like untouchable.
Did you think you would make it to like a World Cup?
I never thought about playing in a World Cup when I was growing up. I thought about playing for United all the time. And then playing for United, to be fair, a result of that usually means you play for your country. But I love playing for my country. I love playing for England. So disappointed not to win a tournament with England. And World Cups were a big disappointment. 2006, I think I've said this before, when I realised it was probably going to be my last World Cup because I was 31. And I remember we lost on penalties to Portugal. And I remember thinking, that's the closest I've ever, I think a tear appeared in my eyes, the closest I've ever been to crying in a football match, because I thought, I'm never going to win a major tournament for England. I'm never going to win a World Cup with England. And that was, maybe we were never good enough, we were never good enough, obviously. Teams were better than us, but you just have that dream, don't you, once you start playing for your country. Yeah.
Do you know what isn't a disappointment, Gary? The Huel Daily 8 vitamin drink.
Do you know something? I'm travelling at the moment. Like, I'm having 3 weeks.
America. You'll be travelling all over.
America 2-3 times. I'm all over the place, and I have one of these in my bag. Give me my vitamins. Got to have your vitamins when you're travelling.
Did you have vitamins when you were playing and stuff like that?
You have supplements when you're playing. Where your deficiencies are, vitamin D. Quite often a deficiency for people who live in the north of England. But this is packed with vitamin D, so we're good.
Good. Cheers.
Get our special offer on all the Huel range, including this. Huel Daily A to Z has your vitamins, energy and hydration all in one can. Find it in Tesco, where it's even in the meal deal, so go and grab one. New customers get our exclusive discount plus a free gift at huel.com/the overlap. Jürgen, you grew up in Germany, obviously born in Germany, and your father was a baker. How was that growing up? So were you in the shop?
It was the best thing ever. No, we were a baker family. I have 3 brothers. We are all like 1 year apart. And they always wanted a girl, but the girl never came. After the 4th boy, they said stop. And so growing up in a bakery was wonderful because, you grow up also knowing then how everything is made. So I got an education as a baker too, because I got a professional contract offer from a 2nd division team in those days. The team is called Stuttgart Kickers. They play now 4th division.
Yeah.
But those days they were 2nd division. And they offered a contract when I was playing for the youth team. And I was not allowed to sign that contract. Because you're a child still,
Yes.
So your parent has to sign it. So my dad had to sign a contract, but he says, what if somebody breaks your leg and you cannot play anymore, and you leave now school for this? You can make money with football. He said, supposedly. So when he said, okay, boy, I sign you this contract, so you become professional at the age of 18 then officially, but you need to have something in your pocket. So if you leave school, then you get an education as a baker diploma, which I have. So at the same time, I wasn't allowed to train with the first team as a 16-year-old, but I had to work every day in the bakery. So I got that diploma, and it worked out well.
Wow.
Were you happy to work, or were you forced, or were you happy to work?
No, I loved it.
Did you?
I loved it. The only critical thing was you got to get up at 3 in the morning, start the first shift until 7, 8 o'clock. Then I was allowed to go to the training. And then I had to do a 2nd shift after lunch for the rest of the day. Then the goods that go into the shop. Then, but it was for me just normal.
And you loved it. You loved it. You love baking. You love football. So it's perfect.
Yeah, it was
We need to
perfect.
get some of these Premier League players in Greg's. There is other brands available. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's discipline though, isn't it? Like, it's hard work, and it kind of instills that from a young age that you've got to be disciplined in everything you do.
Yeah, and I think that the lesson from my father was then probably you got to have a plan B. If plan A doesn't work out, so if really something happens with an injury or whatever, or you're not good enough, then at least you have something to fall back on. And that was very wise of him.
Was your father your biggest influence when you were growing up?
I think so, yeah, because I just saw him. I mean, that generation, the post World War II generation in every country, what they had to work was just insane. And I saw him work 14, 16-hour shifts every day, and my mom too. That was the life. And the only time they really went outside the bakery was when one of us kids had any sporting events. My older brother was a track and fielder. He was a decathlete, fairly good. And the other one was also playing football. One was a judoka. So when any kind of stuff in the sports world was happening, they try to support, they try to come. So he was definitely a huge influence. But my dad was funny. He originally was from East Germany. And before the wall came up, basically he left his place with a friend of him, also a baker friend from his little town. And then they went to the western side, they moved around, and he ended up in Stuttgart, in the southwest area of Germany, which was occupied by the Americans. And he got the official papers that he's allowed to stay there. They met my mom, and they settled there. But because of the fact that he left home, he was never really accepted to where he went, because in a dialect, they understood he was from the eastern side.
Yeah.
Every time we went back as kids to visit his family, because we were only allowed from the West German side to go to the East German side to visit family, they from East Germany were not allowed to come to West Germany.
Oh.
So it only was a one way for the West. So every time we went back home to his place, they made him feel like crap, basically, because you left us.
Yes.
You ran away.
Right.
So I saw that over years. We children saw this, until obviously we were all thrilled when the wall came down, and in 89, late 89. But he, because of his experience leaving home, trying to find his way of life somewhere else, at one point, I maybe was 12 or 13 years old, I was constantly outside, like we all were playing football. The afternoons were playing football for us. So one day he came and said, "Need to talk to you." I said, "Yeah, but what is that?" And I said, "Well, I will observe you. I'm observing you every day, and one day you got to go." He said to me, and I was a child, and I said, "Well, what do you mean, Dad? One day I have to go." So I see that in you. I see that in you. You need to see the world. There's more to it, You have this drive, And I remember that until today, And the same then happened years later when I played for Stuttgart. And we had the final 2 years of my time in Stuttgart, Bundesliga, was we were a fairly good team. We went in the UEFA Cup final against Napoli in 89 against Ma라 Doo, Caramau.
Yes,
But in that year already, I became already an 87 national team player under Becken Bauer. And so people could see, okay, this kid maybe could go a different route. My coach was Arie Haan. He was a fantastic Dutch player, 74, 78
World Cups, yeah.
And he one day came to me in the last year. I was playing and said, Jürgen, I need to talk to you. And I said, "Yeah, what's up, coach?" And I adored him because he was always in a good mood. He was Dutch. He was so not German, He was always funny, cracking jokes. And I said, "Yeah, what's up, coach?" He said, "Yeah, I think, it's time for you to go." And we were in that run towards the UEFA Cup final at the end. And said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Yeah, the best are in Italy. What are you doing here?"
How old was you then?
I was 23. 24. "Oh, that means I got to go to Italy." And he said, "Yeah." Yeah. I mean, I love to keep you here and maybe win a title or two, whatever. But, I think, I need to be honest to you. Everybody is now watching the Serie A in Italy in the late 80s.
Yeah.
All the best players, if it's Zico, if it's, Mateus and Bremer were there, Rudi Völler was there from the national team, and then obviously Gullit from Basten Rijkaard and all these players. And I said, okay, coach.
You didn't doubt him, you believed what he was telling you?
Yeah, I really thought he means it in a good way. He means it for me. You know, I got to move on and do things that make me better then, hopefully.
Yeah. Why would your father have told you need to go when you're 12, 13 because of his experience and the fact that
maybe he saw, he just saw there's more to life than just the bakery probably, and he saw that I have a lot of talent in what I'm doing there, and I went through all the youth national teams then with Germany, and so he understood that this kid is hungry, is driven, he's trying to make the right decisions, which we not always do, but we try to, and And
was you always a striker? Yeah, I guess.
That's what to say. Yeah.
from a little kid on, I
Always
just wanted
scoring.
to score goals.
Yeah.
I was just driven by goals. I was not driven by jogging the ball around or just doing technical crazy things. I just
Wanted
thought,
to score.
I know where the goal is.
Yeah.
Just give me the ball and I will take care of it somehow. And I think in the under 10, so he gave me, when I started to play at the 8-year-old, he said, okay, if you do this now, and I think you have really quite some talent, I started a book for you. It's called your little record book. He put a sentence in that book and he said, I want you to write down every game you play, the result of the game, and because you want to be a striker, how many goals you score. From the age of 8 on. I have it at home, that book.
Oh, wow.
The German football museum wants it so badly. I said, I'm not getting it.
No,
And I wrote down every single game I played until you became professional. Then it's okay. Then other people have the books. And that second season I played as a 9-year-old. I had 2 games. In one game I scored 16 goals. In the other I scored 15 goals. The game was 2 times 20 minutes. So we had a very strong center back. He kicked the ball upwards and I took care of it. I scored. I picked the ball out of the net and ran back and put it down because I wanted to
Score again.
31 goals in 2 games.
So in that season I scored 106 goals and 20 games or whatever. But I wrote it down, and then later on they made a book with it.
Wow.
30 years.
That's amazing.
My book would have been empty.
I don't think that Ian's
No,
book would be
but-
empty.
I would-
It
I
would
wouldn't-
be
I didn't score
It
that
would be
many.
cool
I
to
wouldn't-
have your book.
Something that was just to write it down is something I would have loved to do it because you played football for hours outside. You just played for hours. Did you do that, Roy?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You played for hours. It felt like you never got tired. And when you said about when you were young, just outside playing football, you guys just outside playing football as
Same
well,
as
hours?
you did.
It's
Same
all over,
as all I think the football-driven nations do. That was the way we grew up. Yeah.
You just get a shout for your tea, wouldn't
Yeah.
you, at like 5 o'clock or something. But now you walk around the streets, I was doing it the other day, and there's like hardly any kids about. I know there's a safety element, but there's not as many kids out playing as there in general.
It's a great time.
Stick to Football is brought to you by Arm Clothing. This episode is sponsored by Heineken. Welcome to Heineken's Fan of the Match. Heineken is all about celebrating the fan connections made through sport. So we've got a fan in the studio with me, but who do they support? How are you, mate? What's your name?
Kieran.
Kieran. Let's go, Kieran.
60 seconds now.
South.
No.
North.
Yes.
Don't yes me.
Yes.
Yeah. Premier League.
No.
League 2.
Yes.
Oh. Manchester.
No.
Cheshire.
Yes.
Produce young players.
Yes. A lot of them.